Yo, what up, YouTube? Welcome to the Naked Truth Podcast, where we swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help us God, right? So, Saturday night I was a little disturbed. Got a couple messages from a couple relatives and friends, wanting to borrow, a few dollars, right? And it was like, nothing really astronomical, just like, $40, $50, right? And, they, of course, they wanted me to send it via Cash App, but my Cash App is currently messed up, so I can't send any money through Cash App. But I can receive Cash App, I just can't send anything out. So I explained that to them, or whatever. But as the night progressed and I laid down to go to sleep, it's like I woke up like 3 o'clock in the morning and I couldn't sleep, right? And I kept trying to go back to sleep, couldn't go back to sleep. So I just got up and I just prayed, man. It's like what they were dealing with was heavily, on my heart, in my spirit. So I just got up and began to pray, But, so the next morning I went to church and, we was in Bible class or whatever. And, the preacher was going forth, pastor was going forth. I kind of raised my hand and I, just kind of interjected a little bit. And I began to ask some, the people in the congregation, which was about 11 or 12 people, I began to explain to them what took place the night before. And I asked them, I said, how many in here have in the past two weeks to a month have gotten phone calls from someone wanting to borrow $40 or $50? And about 7 of them raised their hand. So I posed the question a little slightly different. I said, how many, there was like 7 people raised their hand, like 4 or 5 people that didn't raise their hand. So when I posed the question different, I said, well, how many in here was the ones that had to call someone and ask for $40 or $50? And the remainder of the people in there raised their hand. So I began to go on and explain to them. I said, listen, let me ask you a question. Isn't it a shame that you have grown individuals, right, with able bodies, we're not talking about children, we're not talking about kids, we're not talking about young folks, we're talking about people that are full grown, that are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, who don't have $40 to their name, right? People with great jobs, good jobs, decent jobs, decent paying jobs, have been on their jobs for, a substantial amount of time, that don't have $40, right? And I began, what is going on? And I began, God, what is happening? Like God, what is going on, right? What is going on in, the world? What is going on in America that you have grown people that don't have $40? They got the call, right? And subject themselves to a degree of humility and disgrace and shame, that they got to pick up the telephone and call somebody and ask them to borrow $40, right? I was listening to a statistic the other day that said that 50% of this country don't have $100, right? That only 50% of America has $100 saved. 50%. Only 50% of this country has $100 in their bank account. Going to bankrate.com. Right? Listen, folks, that's terrible. That is extremely sad. That's a crisis, if you ask me. That's almost a disgrace to this country. For us to be the land of the free, the land of opportunity, for half of America, half of this country not to have $100, that's a disgrace to our country, and we got to do better. We have to learn how to make sacrifices, right? We have to learn, delayed gratification. We have to learn how to stay down till we come up, and if you don't have it, you can go to Amazon.com and order my book, Stay Down Till You Come Up, God's Plan for Your Money, at Amazon.com. But listen, we have to learn how to make sacrifices. If that means getting you an extra job, a part-time job, if that means driving for DoorDash or Grubhub or Instacart or one of these gig jobs or something like that. And we have to learn how to cut back our expenses, right? We have to learn how to cut back on unnecessary purchases, right? Because and let me say this, is really prevalent amongst women, right? It's something that women typically have a problem with, right? Is that, you know, we got to learn how to distinguish between a want and a need, right? And a lot of times we make the error or have the fault of labeling wants as needs, right? We'll say that, you know, oh, I need this, no, you don't need it. Or we'll try to justify it by saying that, you know, our children need it. You know, my son needed no, they don't need it. They don't need it. They want it, or you wanted them to have it. That's the bottom line. Some of the things that we try to convince people that our kids need, they don't really need. Or something we try to convince ourselves that our kids need, they really don't need. Right? We have gotten into this thing where we have become, where we compete with our neighbor, right? We compete with other individuals on social media, on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all these different social media sites, where, you know, if we're not doing what they're doing, we don't feel like, you know, we're living life, or we don't feel like, you know, or we feel like we're being deprived of something. Like we have to shake that mentality, you know. But if you would just cut back on some of your unnecessary expenses or unnecessary spending. Like I always tell you guys that as Americans, and especially as African Americans, we don't have a problem making money. We have a problem managing our money. We have a problem keeping our money. Right? We know how to make $1, and we don't know how to do nothing else. We know how to make some money, but we don't know how to manage our money. No one has taught us how to manage our money. Right? And we get caught up in this ideology, or this idea, this mindset that we want our children to have, you know, what we didn't have. And that's fine, and I do understand it to a degree, but you can't do that at the expense of being able to put your child in a position where they don't have to start from scratch. Right? We'll never be able to close the wealth gap between us and our counterparts if we don't set our children up for success. We have to learn how to set them up for success. We have to learn how to position them so our children don't have to start from scratch. The reason why we can't close the wealth gap is because whenever we get to the point where we pass the baton, it's like we're running in a relay race, right? When we get to the point where we're supposed to pass the baton, like we have to go back and start at the finish line when our counterparts pass the baton and they keep on running. And we have to make whatever sacrifices necessary so our kids don't have to go back to the starting line and start the race that we had already started. Like we have to, at some point, be able to pass the baton and complete the race, or finish the race that the generation prior has started. You know, but it was just sad, and it really troubled me. It's a sad day in America when people don't have $40 to their name. Right? I was telling a friend of mine, you know, some months ago, because a similar situation happened. I said, man, I never want to be in a position where I don't have $100. I said, well, I have to borrow. I said, matter of fact, you know, if I have to borrow some money, let it be some thousand. I said, but you know what? Matter of fact, I don't want to be in a position where if I needed thousands of dollars and I didn't have it. You know, that's why I sacrifice so much. Listen, I got back spasms right now. I got back spasms right now. I can barely walk. I can barely get in and out this car, but I am currently at work, and I don't have to work. I could take the rest of the year off if I wanted to and still be all right. But I'm in grind mode, right? I'm locked in, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm focused, you know what I'm saying? I'm focused on the goal that I'm trying to reach by the end of the year, and I'm not going to let the fact that I got back spasms stop me, right? I could have stayed home. I could have called in sick, right? I could have called out, but I decided not to because I have a goal that I'm trying to reach. I got back, I'm talking about literally, I can barely get up out the bed. I can barely walk. It hurt me to walk. It hurt me to sit down, right? I can barely get in and out this car, you know, but I'm at work, right? During my courier job, my part-time courier job, And you know, and I'm in pain. But guess what? I took the time out to stop and do this video, and I'm on the clock. I'm at work. You know, and my wife, she normally would say something like, "Hey, you don't need to go. You need to rest. You need to do this." She didn't say anything because she understands, right? And I think that is, I think it's something to be applauded. You know, for a person to be willing to do whatever it takes. I think that now she understands that. Like, listen, it doesn't matter rain, sleet, hell, or snow. You know, whether this man is in pain or not, he's going to get up and do what he got to do. You know what I'm saying, to take care of him and his family. And you know, and I encourage you all to do the same. Listen, we have to make. There are certain sacrifices that we have to make. There are some certain sacrifices that we have to make, right? We may not want to, but we have to make them, right? Right? We got to get up off our butt every day and get up and go to work. You know, whether we work a job, whether we own our own business, whatever the case may be, right? Listen, we got to get rid of this pie in the sky, you know, dream chasing mentality, right? It's nothing wrong with dreaming, but you got to get up and run after and chase after that dream every day. So I just want to leave that with you guys. It's a shame and a